So, I was asked to come up here and tell some stories. And it's only right to address the elephant that was in our room a few years ago. I first met Mehdi in June 1990. A friend of mine, Andrew, who I'd worked with before, was working at Commodore. He was working in Germany, trying to help with the infantry. And he said, "Can you meet me for breakfast with Mehdi Ali tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock? Be there." So I was there for the breakfast. Now I picked this picture because the guy on the right looked a little bit like I did back then. But then, meeting with Mehdi, I'm sure it's not at all like meeting with John Kerry. Mehdi can be articulate, he can be charming, he can be direct, he can be demanding, and he likes to say, "You're fired," a lot. That's a more appropriate metaphor. So, Mehdi and I chatted for about 10 minutes over breakfast. He then went back and said, "Well, you've been recommended by your friend Andrew here. Andrew knows, you screw up, he gets fired. I'm relying on you two not to make that happen. Be in Holland tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. That was the way Mehdi operated. We spent a lot of time in the air flying through various meetings. There was one particular day we had a meeting in, again I think it was Amsterdam. What Mehdi used to do was to tell everybody he wanted to talk to that day to be in the office at 8 o'clock in the morning. And as his management style was divide and conquer, he only took one group in at a time because he had us competing against each other. So you would arrive there at 8 o'clock and wait until your agenda item came up. Whenever it got round to you, you then go in, spend your time, come out. That day I remember the guys from Australia who'd flown in the previous evening, got in at 10 o'clock, were out at 10:15 because they could catch the 1 o'clock flight back to Australia. We were waiting longer. There were some issues going on with other countries, don't know what it was. When it got to 11 p.m, we said, "Should we go get dinner?" Mehdi said, "No, don't worry about it. I've asked the restaurant to stay open." We went in to discuss our agenda item at 2:30 a.m. We left for the restaurant at 3:30, got there at 4 o'clock, had dinner, because the restaurant was still open, then went straight from dinner back to the airport and flew home. So I guess we saved on hotel bills. Very frugal. But Mehdi used to come to the UK about once a month, and he always stayed at the Dorchester. Nice hotel. I've been to the Dorchester before. I've eaten at the Dorchester before, but I've never been in the suite in the Dorchester before. I got to eat well. So whenever he came to the UK, he would have a car, and that car would be on 24-hour standby. He'd also have a phone, remember? Now back then, the phones were $15 a minute. Because he was on the phone constantly. As soon as he got in the car, he was on the phone every time he went anywhere. And the car was 24 hours a day. So that was costing us roughly $6,000 a day. Now you've all seen the Sprint adverts. I can cut your bill in half. What I said to Mehdi was, I will cut your bill in half. Because we used to get the bill and recharge it back. Sorry about that. We used to get the bill and recharge it back to the US. What I said to him is, we'll provide you with a car and a driver and a phone and bill you half what you're paying today. We said, done deal. So we leased a car, hired a guy who was actually the retired father of one of my accountants, who was a general maintenance guy, plus a driver, and we got him a phone on a cheap international plan. We saved him 50% of his cost, and for 28 days of the month when Mehdi wasn't there, we had a car and a driver at our disposal. It was fantastic. So, one of the side perks of being CEO of Commodore was I got to be a vice president of Chelsea Football Club, which as a Newcastle supporter is a mixed blessing, but I got to meet a whole bunch of people. Now, as a shirt sponsor, Commodore paid Chelsea $1.5 million a year to have publicity, to be on TV, to get the name. But that was just the base sponsorship. If Chelsea succeeded in competitions, you had to pay more. It was another $1 million if they won the FA Cup. It was $1 million if they won the Premiership. Get to a final is $500,000, semi-final $250,000, and so on. So there was significant win bonuses, which is a big exposure for the company. So what do? You go to Lloyd's of London, where Lloyd's will insure anything. So you take out an insurance policy, hoping that Chelsea will do badly. If Chelsea do well, they pay up on the premium. Now in 1992-93, Chelsea actually did okay. So we had claims on our premium. Now you all know what happens when you make a claim on your insurance premium. The premium goes up hugely. So what do? Insurance is no longer an option. But however, in the UK, there is another option. You place a bet. So you do the calculation on what are the odds on Chelsea doing all the various things that you have to pay them if they achieve, and you work out that it's actually 40% cheaper going to Ladbrokes than it is going to Lloyd's. You can't walk into your local betting shop and place £100,000 on Chelsea to win the league. They won't take that bet. It's too big. So, you have to hire a team of consultants. And you have 25 people who are told at 2 o'clock exactly on a certain date, you walk into a betting shop in 25 different towns around the country and place sub-bets on Chelsea. So, everybody remembers the Sting? It's all about the timing. Back then, they didn't have the technology to recognize that so many bets were going down at the same time. You had about 10 minutes before they worked out what was happening and changed the odds. So if you follow English football and you look at the odds on a team winning the league or winning the cup, that is more related to how the sponsors are placing their bets than it is about anything else in the market. So I've talked today, and other people have talked about, it's not just about the fantastic Amiga technology. It's more about the killer app. The app that makes the hardware sing. In the UK, we had a killer app. We're not sure exactly how many machines were sold because of this application. But based on the amount of time our technical team spent at Scotland Yard decoding drives and decoding disks. It was a significant market. I never got to find out what was on those disks because the content was always the subject of an ongoing inquiry. Now, those of you who know my co-MD, David Pleasance, we have a great relationship then, we have a great relationship now, and I have to say it's entirely coincidental that his image is next to that article.
With that quote.
So another Amiga story. David coined the phrase a while back that we don't sell computers, we sell dreams. And the Amiga brand is powerful and makes powerful dreams. And that came home to me one weekend. It was a bank holiday weekend, so we would have Monday off. We're winding down to a 3-day holiday, taking it easy. It's 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. My head of technical support came through on the phone and said, I have a call, you need to take it. I said, it's 4:30 on Friday, just handle it. It's late, I'm going home. He said, no, you need to take the call. I said, okay, put them through. And this very nice lady came on and said, hello? Hello? Are you in charge? Yes. Can you make quick decisions? Yes. She said, I'm with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We have a sick kid. He doesn't come from a very well-off family, but his friends have Amigas, and his wish is to have the latest Amiga 1200 package and play with it. Can you make that happen? I said, it's now about 5 o'clock Friday night. I said, yeah, I think we can get him one by lunchtime on Tuesday. She said, ah. I waited. We don't think he's going to make it till Tuesday. We got him Amiga in 2 hours. I got a letter a couple of weeks later from his mother who said, you made the last week of my son's life happy. He was smiling. He wouldn't leave the computer alone whenever he was awake. It was great. Thank you so much. For me, that encapsulates what the Amiga is. It makes dreams. It's fantastic. This community is fantastic 30 years on. I am proud to have played a bit role in this community, to be part of the journey. Thank you all for all you've done for it, all you have done for it, are doing for it, and will do for it in the future. May the Amiga dream on. Thank you.